Women Up Radio, designed to facilitate women's empowerment, improve your career, develop your talents, incorporate your passions, achieve fulfillment and success.
Hello, this is Anna Letitia Cook of Women Up Radio, supporting empower women and the girls on the road in their quest to support women entrepreneurs around the world. Fernanda and Taciana are visiting 24 countries, interviewing women and researching the conditions, the business ecosystems, the challenges and the advantages that exist in each country. Today we're visiting South Korea, which I'm sure is going to be very different compared to the recent countries in Europe. So hi Fernanda and Tassie, how are you today?
We're doing good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So tell me, South Korea, what's the general vision of business, women in business and women entrepreneurs there? Is it very different?
Well, Anna, it's very different from Germany in some way, but not as much as we would think of. Remember that we mentioned that Germany have this social pressure with women and they have to choose between careers and being a mom.
Yeah.
And I could say that it's just like that in South Korea. It's very interesting because they have all these like huge conglomerates that people like men and women, when they go to college, they aspire to go, and like they make sure that they got into the best schools of the country, so they're able to be recruited by these companies. Mm-hmm. But then once they are growing in their careers, they pretty much, once they hit the age, like women, once they hit the age of thinking about marriage and having kids, even in the corporate world, they face a lot of pressure to just quit everything. So entrepreneurship in South Korea has been also a way of make sure that you can have a fulfilling professional life and being a mother, because then you are your own boss and you will not be on the verge of being left out, being fired just because you decided to get married or have a kid.
Oh, okay. So to be a woman entrepreneur in South Korea, what is it for them? What's their vision?
Well, in terms of resources, for example, the government, they have been investing a lot in which they call the creative economy, mm-hmm. which encompasses so many entrepreneurial activities. So the government is really seeing entrepreneurship as a powerful way to make the country keep growing. However, the women say that they don't see that incentive as much as their male counterparts, mostly because of the social pressures that Fernanda mentioned, which is really, it's really deep. Mm-hmm. So many women said to us that, society sees their businesses as a way of spending time until they get married. Okay. So, yeah, from that you see, the amount of pressure that they still face. Of course, we saw different. We interviewed younger entrepreneurs with the younger generation, and of course their attitude is different. But still, they will have to face a society that's pretty close to Japan, not the same extent in terms of the role of the women in society, especially when they become mothers and get married, of course, but still a lot of pressure. And another thing that somehow impacts entrepreneurship in South Korea, as Fernanda mentioned, they are, they grow up thinking that they will work for their lives in some huge corporation at Samsung, LG, that you mentioned. Yeah. So as a society, they are not that prone into entrepreneurship. They want stability. They want to do everything. Okay, I know what I'm going to do the next day. So that's a huge challenge for a country as a whole. But the government seems to be doing, a lot to change that. But not everything is somehow benefiting the women who want to pursue their business.
Okay. And so what about the main factors in the business ecosystem?
Again, resources.
Yeah.
Incubators, they have a lot of financial resource. although, women face the same challenges, but the money is there, the incentives, they are super developed. It's a very well-developed country in terms of technology and innovation. So in terms of, if you have an idea, if you want to open a business, the resources certainly are there.
Yeah.
But again, women, they don't seem to have all this ability for so many reasons to really take advantage of that.
And I think, Anna, South Korea is a country that has been investing a lot in education. So when you think about entrepreneurs, they're pretty much very well educated, very prepared in terms of like formal education.
Yeah.
If you think about like the 80s, South Korea really made a jump in terms of bringing all the people into the schools and into good college education. So when they wanted to have a business, they have the idea, they already kind of like know the way how to access for resources, like to go and ask, like to go to incubators, accelerators, or just like talk to people. There's like this very network of women. They see that it's very important for them to talk to each other, but of course they face like a huge pressure, similar to Japan, in terms of being much more geared towards building a family than building a business.
Okay.
If you look at the major the rich women in South Korea who are in leading companies right now, they pretty much like inherited from their parents, not like they built, with the exception of one. We saw.
That's a shame. I mean, great that they should lead companies, but it's a shame that they haven't the satisfaction of building it up themselves. So with that, are there any other particular challenges or advantages for the women there?
Well, again, as we mentioned about Germany, I think the major advantage is the environment.
Yeah.
So it is a shame that they haven't been able to really take full advantage of that.
Mm-hmm.
So and so that's huge for them. And on the other side, of course, in terms of challenges, that's pretty much
still
what
the
we
environment.
mentioned. It's still the environment in terms of social norms, cultural issues. So they really can believe that they can do that. They can have a family. They can be mothers. They can run businesses. So it's another paradigm that we have. Once again, we saw in a different country, in a different culture. So that's why we keep saying, doesn't matter where we are, where we interview, the challenges are pretty much the same that women face. Yeah. So of course, what will change is how deep this pressure is, the challenges that they have, and of course their agency to really change the environment, to really keep pushing and break all these stereotypes and preconceived ideas about what a woman can do or cannot do.
Yeah. Okay. And what about their soft and hard skills? Do they have lots in common, or have they had to develop some?
I think hard skills, we saw a lot of women focus on, IT, engineering, much more than we saw sometimes in other countries. Mm-hmm. They are very prepared in these areas that we lacked in some other countries. So hard skills that would be, as we mentioned previously, like very tech-oriented, very well prepared in terms of formal education. On the other hand, soft skills, it's a very different culture from our own culture. Mm-hmm. I think still, if you think about like being social or talk to other people, they are like in disadvantage if you compare to Western cultures, because they were raised in a way, to obey hierarchy or, like being more reactive than outspoken.
I think they're shy. Yeah, especially South Korean women, they seem to be very shy and keep to themselves. And we participated in an event there in Seoul, and the last panel was with 3 women entrepreneurs. Not many people in the audience, unfortunately, but there we were. And at the end, the mediator asked if somebody had a question, would like to know something. No one. You had a lot of women at the end of the last panel. Not a single women raised their hands to pose a question.
Really?
So, yes. So that would be the moment, to try to take as much as they could of some people that were there sharing their experiences. And they were also South Koreans.
Really?
So they are shy. I think they have really to learn to step up and to raise their voices. And of course, the two of us, we raised our hands and we did the questions because we were so curious to learn about more things from that environment. So that maybe that one soft skill of really, reaching out to other people, don't feel so ashamed, or not ashamed because they have nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah.
But they put themselves out there. I think they really have to keep working on that.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And is there a motivational difference in South Korea which could be helpful to other women entrepreneurs?
I think the motivation is to find a way to how can I say to really go for your professional life and be the driver of your career. Yeah. So they go for entrepreneurship many times because they already know the challenge that they will face once they have this time of having kids or being a wife.
Yeah.
So they kind of like already pre-plan to have their own business, so they can achieve whatever they want to. Like they know that there will be no limits if they start their own company and grow their own companies. Yeah. Opposed to if they go to a major corporation that eventually they will be forced to be out just because their personal choices.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. Actually, that's a very freeing way of starting your business, because if you know that it's going to not have limits because of the fact that it's new and it's innovation, and you're just building your own path with it, that sounds great. So,
yeah.
Okay.
I think every professional should think about it. If everybody has an idea, yes. So you should really consider to put this into practice.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I started my first business when my children were babies, because I wanted the freedom of doing what I wanted when I wanted. And I think that really is the key to entrepreneurship. You can go in the direction you want to go. So if they're thinking like that because they're being blocked, so to speak, in the corporate world, I think that's a great motivation. I think for them, that's a great opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. And it definitely impacted us as well. As we mentioned to you, we were, before the project, we pretty much were corporate women. Yes. But now our mindset is very looking towards like building our own path.
Yes. From now on. It's wonderful. It's absolutely amazing. I could never go back to an office ever. Well, I just think I would. I don't know who would die first, me or the people around me. I would not be an easy person to manage. Okay, well, thank you very much for all the information about South Korea. It sounds very different, but like they've got definite possibilities for entrepreneurship, far more than staying in corporate. So that's lovely to hear. Next time.